Morning, everybody. One of the things I'd like to talk about, I think a lot of people don't really understand the whole purpose of our existence is prospecting. You know, once you get to a level where you got some people underneath, and then it gets into management. Until you're about 10 wide, don't worry about managing people. Just worry about getting 10 wide. And the biggest challenge we all have is everyone says to me, well, Bill, I've run on a natural market. I don't have anybody. And the first step to getting out of the business is cold calling. So when a person says, well, Bill, I'm into cold calling, and I've lost my natural market, for one, there's a fundamental part of our business, and that's referrals. And the reason why people cold call, or the reason why people get out of the business in general, is because they don't have anybody to talk to. And so when anyone comes into my office and I say, Bill, do you mind if I close the door? You know, one of these private meetings, and they sit down, they sit in front of me, and they say, take a deep breath, and they go, you know, Bill, I'm just not sure this is for me. You know, I've given a good try, and nothing against you, nothing against Primerica, but you know, it just hasn't worked out for me, and my wife and I have talked about it, and I need to decide to look for another job. I said, well, fine. But before you leave, give us all the referrals you've got so that they won't go to waste. You know what they always say? I don't have any. And I said, that's why you're leaving. You see, the Achilles heel in our business of all people that have big dreams and big desires is the discipline to get referrals. We all know to get referrals. But there's a discipline factor in getting referrals where you have to understand the key thing is, if I called you up today and said, here's a name, this guy would be interested in talking to you, who wouldn't call him up? The problem we have is we don't have enough people to call, so we tend to do nothing all day long. We tend to do nothing all night long. We end up cold calling or having to say, well, I'm going knocking on doors, or I'm going mauling, or I'm going someplace to meet people. Well, we have to understand that we're one interview away from an explosion in our business. Just one interview. You know, a lot of people think, well, the defeating part of our business is, well, how do I get referrals? Well, I got to get a sale. But then when I get a sale, then I can get those 10 referrals, and then I can get to working on the business. I can't tell you, 9 out of 10 people that walk into my office, true story, when they bring in, I say, I got a sale last night, great, did you get referrals? 9 out of 10 say, no. Yeah, well, I'm going to get some. We just ran out of time. Well, we ran out of time. Did you get the check? Yeah, we didn't run out of time to get the check. But they run out of time to get the referrals, which means they're really in a short-lived position in our business. The whole purpose of making a sale, the whole purpose of recruiting somebody, the whole purpose of even having a one-on-one interview is to get names, to propagate yourself, to continue your lifelong journey in Primerica till you get 10 wide and allow this great opportunity to take over for you. As I like to call it, get to the other side. Most people have never seen the other side of our business. They've only seen the side of getting in the morning, seeing 3 people a week, and then never having to accomplish anything. Now, years ago I found out that I used to interview people and go do a lot of one-on-ones during the day, talking about the opportunity as an example. And what happened would be, I'd call the guy up the next day, and I'd say, well, John, are you planning to come to the meeting Tuesday night? Well, I'm thinking about it. Or, my wife and I haven't had a chance to discuss it yet. They spent 4 hours talking about cowboy football. They haven't had a chance to discuss this. Well, I haven't read your material yet. So I'd call him up 2 days later. Well, John, this is Bill Orender again, and I'm feeling like a stupid idiot now. Here I am, greatest opportunity in the world, and I'm begging him. Well, John, do you have an opportunity to read our material? Are you planning to come Tuesday? Well, I'm thinking about it. You know, I'm not quite sure this is for me. And we keep chasing people. It's kind of like when you're in chemistry class in high school, and the teacher put some mercury on a table, and you're trying to pick it up. You couldn't do it. You can't pick up mercury. You can't even get your fingers wet with it. That's the way I felt. And I got sick and tired of it until I realized that I'm in a power position. It's not a matter of whether or not he'll join me. It's whether or not I'll hire him. So the key ingredient to building a base shop of yours, getting your base shop going from nothing, is having an interview, with the realization that the whole purpose of the interview is to get the names. An interview, I don't care how good it is and how sharp that guy is inconsequential unless you get those 3 to 5 names that you need to keep his business working. Now, most people say, well, Bill, how do you get the names? Well, you just can't ask for the names. You just can't say, well, give me some names. He won't give them to you. And most people think, well, I'm not good at it. Well, either was I. Right now, 100% of the people I talk to give me the names. When I first started, maybe 10-20% did, because I didn't know what I was doing. You have to understand, when you go out there for a one-on-one recruiting interview, it could even be a sales interview. When you walk into the restaurant, or you walk into the home, or you even walk into the guy's office or the coffee shop, you ask them some questions. You want to maintain control. So you walk into the office, and you sit down with them at a restaurant, and you start kind of small talking, visiting, trying to find key things to talk about. Then you might want to, of course, ask them some questions. How secure is your future? Are you having all your dreams come true? You know how to ask all those questions. That's not why I'm here today. And then you ask them a question. How much time do you have? Say, oh, I got 30, 40 minutes. And you always say, I don't have quite that much. Why? Because you want to maintain control. Because you don't want to have the meeting end up being, if he says he's got 30 minutes, and you're still talking, and he interrupts you and says, hey, I got to go. He's got the control back. And you're after him. Well, understand this. If he's got 30 minutes, he says, I've got about 30 minutes. He says, I got 45 minutes. You have to watch your watch. People say, golly, before I knew it, I was just getting through the better choice, and he had to leave. Well, you should have known that. You think it very quickly, right? He's got 30 minutes. 5 minutes on a warm-up, 10 minutes maybe on the better choice, and 4, 6, 8%. That's up, 15 minutes, right? Then you start talking 10 minutes on the opportunity. So that's 25 minutes in. What should you be doing at 25 minutes after? Getting names. You got to watch your watch, or watch his watch. Say, well, listen, 5 after, I got to start to asset management, better choice. Quarter after, I better be talking about the opportunity. 25 after, I better be talking to him about the names. And about 30 minutes after, I got to be saying, okay, here's where we go from here. So it's not a matter of I talk until I have nothing else to say, and I feel like I had him in my control. If he's got 30 minutes, he's got 30 minutes. He's got an hour, then you've got plenty of time. 15 minutes for this and 15 minutes for that. But if he's got an hour, at 50 minutes after, you're to be asking for those names. So that is a part of your presentation. Just like, would you not give a better choice? Well, no, I got to do that. Would you not talk about how do you make your money? No, I got to talk about that. Well, you better get those names, because he's not joining unless you get those names. And what you do is you go through the better choice, then you go through a little bit of our opportunity. You might talk about our businesses like real estate. You've heard me talk about that in the past. But about 25, you talked about recruiting. You talked about rep and sales leader and district and RM and partner or RVP, whatever you want to call it. A little bit about bonus structure and how you make your money, what you did, and how much money you made in every step of the way. Then you're looking about 25 minutes after, and you start, again, you're giving a good presentation. You're asking him questions. He's bringing them back. He's involved. It's just not a monologue. It's a dialogue between two people. What you end up doing is, you say about 25 after, you say, listen, now let me show you how this thing works. You cannot say, now, John, give me 3 names. You can't do that. In other words, it's got to be a part of the presentation that I need the names to show you how this thing works. So let me use an example, John. Let me show you how this thing works. Just to kind of show you and put it into realistic terms how this can mean something to you and your family. Right? You'd want me to show that, wouldn't you? Now, when I say the word ambitious go-getter, just someone that you know of that comes to mind. Who's the first person you know of that comes to mind? Well, let's see. Maybe somebody in sales, or somebody who's a teacher, or somebody who's enthusiastic, somebody who's got a positive attitude, somebody who's money motivated. You esteem him. Or form. Who do you know that's part of your family? Somebody that works for you doing your occupation. Somebody who does the same recreation things. So M, something that has something mutually in common with you. Form. Whatever it is, right? Well, I know Fred Jones. Now, where does Fred work? Now, why do you ask him that? Well, you go to the telephone directory and ask for Fred Jones. There's a zillion of them. But if you take Fred Jones at XYZ Company, all right, okay, Fred, all right. Now, is Fred married? Well, yeah, good. Now, give me another. I need at least 3 names because I want to show you how this thing works. Well, how about Ann Jones? Well, how old is Ann? Well, she's 21. She's single. Yes. Well, let's just try to keep it to married people right now. All right. Well, how about Ed Smith? Okay, where does Ed work? ABC Company. Ed married? Yeah. And give me one more. Just Ed Stankiewicz, whatever his name happens to be. And is he married? Yeah. How old is he? Well, he's 52. Can you give me somebody a little bit younger? Well, kind of like between ages of 25 and 40, somewhere around there. Why? You want to get those younger people, right? So you got the 3 names now, right? Now, the point of the matter is, once you start getting good at it, and it's going to take time, you'll always get 3 names. And the whole purpose is you got paid right then and there. You got paid for taking your time up. No matter what happens, your life is continuing in Primerica Financial because you've got some names to call. But now you take it another step. Now you have to understand that he is not coming or doing anything unless you can show him some activity with those 3 names. See, folks, every pump, the water pump, has to be primed. Now, he's a pump, and down below is an incredible reservoir, an incredible success underneath him if you can just get him to join, right? If I can just get John to see it, if I just get down to see it. So what we tend to do is, we say, well, John, come to meeting Tuesday, he'll get it. John's not coming Tuesday. He's not coming Friday. He's not coming Saturday. That's your attitude. What? Unless I can get him some value. And the only thing you've got are 3 names to 5 names. You can say, give me 5 names. Let me show you how this thing works. You see that? He might peter out at 3 because sometimes it is kind of off the cuff. And those aren't his best names. Understand that. But it's better than 0. Right? Now you see, now, if I call Steve up and ask him out for a cup of coffee to show him our opportunity, what do you think he'd say? They all say, well, he'd say yes, right? See, so what if I call up John? What if I called up Fred? What do you think they'd say? They'd all say yes, wouldn't they? You'd answer it for them. Now, let's assume we sat down with all 3 of these people and had a cup of coffee and showed them. Number 1, at least, statistically, 2 out of 3 would become customers because they want financial independence at age 65, and they have no financial assurance right now that they'll be able to make it unless we can sit down with them. Right? So that's at least 2 customers, and we know for a fact, statistically, that 1 person will at least join out of these 3 people. Let me take this a step further. Would you rather me prove the fact that this business will work for you, or would you rather go home and think about whether or not this business will work for you? Would you rather have, Tom? Would you rather have me prove it, or would you rather think about it? Use an example. Let's assume I were to call these, it's 1 o'clock right now, let's say. What if I were to call these 3 people up before 3 o'clock this afternoon and call you up at 3:05 and tell you and prove to you that 2 or 3 of these people will have given me an appointment? Is that proof? So, and what do you got to lose, right? And all they're going to do is go out for a cup of coffee, and you just said they would, right? So now, here's where we go from here. What's your schedule look like tomorrow or Tuesday to join me for another cup of coffee because I don't have all the materials I want to give to you? Or maybe Monday night or Tuesday night and come by and drop it off at your home on my way home from work. What day is better for you? So in other words, you have to book a second interview. You don't say, well, come to the meeting Tuesday night. He's not coming. You can't say, well, and don't give him tons of material. Why? Then you have no reason to get back together with him again. Another thing is you must have, it's now it's around 30 minutes after, you're saying, now, here's where we go from here. You never see John, well, how do you think? And he takes the control back over and says, well, let me think about it, let me analyze it, let me talk to my wife, let me talk to some friends. Let me just read all the material. He is not going to do any of that. Folks, none of us think anything over. Either we want to do it or we don't. Now, there's only one way that he or she will join the company, is that if we force the issue. Now, you see, I put myself on the line, correct? Now, you say, well, Bill, what if he doesn't want me to call his friends? Well, I just asked him, would you rather have me prove this business works for you, or would you rather think about whether or not this business will work for you? What would you rather? Every time they say, I'd rather have you prove it to me, correct? You see? So he has given me authority to go out there and call his organization. And he wants that. He wants some success. And folks, now, if he says, I don't want you to call my friends, I don't want you to, well, at that point in time, you say, well, thank you very much, and I appreciate it. Let's get back together tomorrow or Friday. And if he says yes, then meet him again. He just might need some more information, right? But now guess what you got? Those 3 names. The only difference is you can't use his name. But you got 3 names. It's better than cold calling. Well, how would you call those people? Very simply. If he says not to call those people, you say, John, my name is Bill Orender, and a mutual friend of ours, and he asked me not to use his name because he thinks too much of you. He kind of put you on a pedestal. But he says you're a dynamo, and he said that his name wouldn't mean a hill of beans to you from a credibility standpoint, but I was just so impressed with the way he talked about you, I had to give you a call. That's how you started out. You compliment somebody. It works every time. Now, what happens? This guy says, fine, I'll meet you Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning. And you look him in the eye and say, listen, I'm going to call you back by 3 o'clock today, and I'll have some results for you. Now, understand that every time you call that person, you want to give them good news. Everyone likes good news. And so what happens is, here's what I like to do. And they never tell you to stop calling them with good news. If they won a lottery, you don't never say, why are you bothering me at work? Right? So, at 1 o'clock, you get back to the office around 1:15, 1:30. You're on the phone. Why? You got to call him back by 3 o'clock. And you call up Steve. Say, Steve, my name is Bill Orender, and you and I have a mutual friend in Fred. You know Fred, don't you? Yeah. Well, good. Fred, you never say, you don't know me. You never say that. That's a defensive position. Folks, this works every time. I'm telling you, this works. And Fred said that you're one of the most ambitious people that he knows. Is this true? Now, you understand, I'm telling you what to say. You've got to write it out in a script, and you've got to say it verbatim. You have to have the script in front of you. Don't think, well, I don't need to use Bill Orender's script. I wrote it out, and I used it until I memorized it. And if I vary from it, I don't have success. So, Fred Jones asked me to give you a call. We're mutual friends. He said you're one of the most ambitious people that he knows. Is that true? They all kind of laugh a little bit and they say, well, I think so. Every last one of them. And guess what you just did? Give him a compliment, and guess what he did? He tied himself down. Well, Fred just said that you're so ambitious that you definitely would want to talk to me about an opportunity. See, our company is a company that allows people to make $500 to $1,000 a month part-time, $50,000 to $100,000 a year full-time. We're in the financial services industry. And Fred said that you're so ambitious, you definitely would want to talk to me. Fred said. So is tomorrow or Tuesday a better time to come by? What's he going to say? Well, what's it all about? Well, Fred says that you're so ambitious that you have an open mind. And we're in the financial services industry. And we share with people how to move money to get higher rates of return from it. We're a sister company to Smith Barney. Now, again, I got a lot to go over, and I'm so excited about meeting because of what Fred said. Right? Is tomorrow or Tuesday a better job? Now, if he says no, what you're thinking is, okay, I understand that, Fred. I know John said that you're so ambitious that you're also very, very busy. Is that right? Yes. Well, let me ask you one question. Who do you know you're getting referrals again? Off the call. Who do you know that's as ambitious as you are, but has a little bit more time? Just a little bit. And he might give you a name, right? Where does Ed work? Right? If he says no to that, you say, well, listen, I'll get out of here. Let me ask you one last question. Who do you know that I could call who might recommend some people to me? What are you in the business of getting? Referrals, right? If you give me a name and I call him, I'm using a name, right? So what? What do I do? Let's assume this call gives me your name, Tom. Tom, my name is Bill Orender. Fred told me to give you a call. He said that you're one of the most ambitious people that he knows. Is that true? And you keep doing it because I'm after the name. Right? John, you and I have a mutual friend in Fred. He said that you know everybody in Dallas. He said you're one of the most influential people here. Is that true? You see that? You keep the names going. So you don't have to go out looking for names. If you make a phone call and they're not interested, you get one or two more names from them. So you're basically sitting at your desk drinking your coffee and air conditioning, calling people up. Now, if Fred says, yeah, I'd like to meet with you, great. Is Monday or Tuesday better? Monday, how about either 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock? Which is better? 10 o'clock, let's meet for a cup of coffee. Where do you work? Hey, well, let's meet halfway in between, right? Now, where is halfway in between? A block from your office. A block from your office is halfway in between. Understand that. So you don't have to drive all the way over. Now, if you'd have them come to the office, it doesn't make any difference. Meet them at a restaurant doesn't make any difference, you see. The point of the matter is, I like to meet at restaurants. Why? Because I can walk out. That thing can last 5 or 10 minutes. He comes to my office, I can't get him out. But I like to have people in my office sometimes, right? It's a rainy day, have them come to your office. Now, I called Fred up, I got an appointment. I call Ed up, I say, Ed, my name is Bill Orender. You and I have a mutual friend in John. You know John, don't you? Yeah. Well, John said that you're one of the most ambitious people that he knows. Is that true? Well, yes. Great. He said that you were. Listen, I'm in a financial services business. And the reason why I'm calling is because John said you're so ambitious you definitely would want to talk to me. You see, we're in a financial services business, and many of our people make between $500 to $1,000 a month part-time, and many go on and go full-time and make $50,000 and up in our business. And John said you're so ambitious that you definitely would want to talk to me. Now, is your schedule open tomorrow or Tuesday to get together? What is this? We're a financial services company. We're a sister company to Smith Barney. We show people how to make and save money and reorganize their dollars. But I can go into that a little bit later. But it's tomorrow or Tuesday a better day to drop it off, to get together with you. So now that I've called the 3 people, right? I can't wait to call Tom. Why? Good news. What do I say? Good news. Tom, good news. Like, what does the word gospel mean? Good news. People don't understand. It's good news. People like to hear good news. That's why I like to tell people, let me tell you the good news. It's the gospel. It's the good news. So consequently, when I call him up, I say, guess what? It works. Remember I told you I'd get results for you? I did. You know the 3 names you gave me? 2 of those 3 people said they'd meet me for a cup of coffee. The 3rd one gave me a referral, and I called him, and I got an appointment for him. And he's not even interested. I've got 3 appointments for you. How's he supposed to say, well, I've been thinking about it, and I'm not interested? See that? How can you say no to money on the table? In fact, John, remember we're supposed to meet tomorrow morning at 10? Yes. Guess what? I've got an appointment with Fred at 10. Why don't you go with me? See, that's the ideal situation, is to get him on an appointment. All right? So you've created some stuff. You've primed his pump. Do you understand that? And let's assume you're not going to get together till Tuesday, and you meet with Fred on Monday, right? One of his referrals. And so at 10 o'clock in the morning, you meet them for a cup of coffee, you got 30 minutes, you go through your presentation, you got the 3 names. You say, by 3 o'clock this afternoon, I'll call you back and I will have gotten some results for you. You call them back, they just, Fred, just want to let you know that you know 3 names you gave me? I got 2 appointments. This thing is working for you. Then you call back what? John, guess what? I met with Fred. He's crazy. He's already got 2 appointments set. This thing is working. Not only is Fred interested, but he's got people that are coming down to meet me. This thing is working. Now he's got Fred interested. You think he's going to say, my wife and I have been thinking about it. And that's a possibility, right? But do you care? Why, you got Fred. You see that difference? So, now, what if they won't, when you call the 3 appointments, 3 people, and you can't get a hold of them, and it's now 3 o'clock. Say, hey, good news. I called your 3 people, and I haven't gotten a hold yet, but I did call them. That's the good news. And I'm working on it. Sometimes, when I'm really in a feisty mood, after each appointment, I call them back. Fred, I told you I'd call you back by 3. You couldn't wait. 1:30 right now. I got an appointment ready for you. John's going to come down and take a look, visit with me. 2 o'clock. I had to call you back. I'm sorry to bother you. But guess what? I got an appointment for you with Ed. He never says, stop calling me. Never. Understand that? So consequently, you have to prime his pump. Now, do you think he's coming to Tuesday night meeting if Fred and Ed are coming? You never say, are you coming to Tuesday night's meeting? You say, hey, good news. Fred and Ed are coming to Tuesday night, so you're going to be there, aren't you? See the difference? You've created some value. You've primed his pump. And if he doesn't come, do you care? Why? You've got his people. All from 1 interview and 3 names, you're into the hot referral market. And so you stop walking around with these long faces, and I don't know who to call, and I don't know what to do, and I can't get people to come to meetings. You're not going to. You've got to force the issue. You've got to force them to come. You've got to force them to join. Now, Ed, John, Fred, and Ed are joining. You're joining, right? Understand that? Now, understand, when you have 3 people, when you go out there and you talk to John and he gives you Fred and Fred gives you Ed, right? Now understand, if you went out there and met a person in a grocery store and met with him, who'd be excited? You'd be excited, he'd be excited, right? But look at this. When you go out there and you work with John, who gives you Fred, who gives you Ed, you're excited, Ed's excited, Fred's excited, John's excited. So working down line, by the way, this can happen in 2 or 3 days. That's how you can have an explosion of activity and an explosion of recruiting in a matter of 2 and 3 days. See, that's what you got to get to. You can't hire 1 a week or 1 every 2 months. You got to say, listen, come Monday morning, I'm 1 interview away from an explosion. And this can happen if you come in and you work those names and you build that downline team. You understand that? Now, what you're interested in doing is you're interested in people being excited about that opportunity. But they're only excited if they've got some things working for them. Now, can you imagine? You didn't give me any names. If you won't give me any names at the interview, it's up to you then. I can't help you. You understand that? I can't help you too much. Well, I don't want you calling any of my friends. Great. Great. But here's the problem. If you won't let me call any of your friends, how can I help you and prove to you that the business works for you? Would you rather have me prove the business works, or would you rather go home and think about whether or not the business will work? Ask that question. And guess what he'll do? He'll say, well, okay, go ahead and call these 3 people. So about every time, folks, virtually every time you get them to call, they say, yeah, go call my people, right? Now, the most important thing to remember is, and kind of summarizing, that our whole job is to perpetuate our lives by getting names. That's the pro part. The Achilles heel of our business is the person who gets too lazy Too lazy to ask for names. Why do they fail to ask for names? They get a little lazy in it. But see, they don't see the value in those names. You see? Again, too, if I said, listen, Tom, this is my best friend and he wants to buy and he wants to join, would you call him? I don't have that name with me. Would you mind coming to my house tonight at 8 o'clock and picking up that name? You'd come to my house to pick up that name. That's how valuable that name is to you. Understand, the key to recruiting a person you're interviewing is the leverage you have with these 3 names to 5 names. Obviously, go for 5 names at first. Why stop at 3? Say, listen, I want at least 5 names. Let me show you how this thing works. Why? You can show them how to make twice as much money, recruit twice as many people with 5 names. Now, how hard is that? But boy, you have to have the drive to put yourself on a line and say, by 3 o'clock this afternoon, I will have called all 3 of these people, or all 5 of these people. I will call all 5 of these people, and I promise you this, I'll get 2 to 3 appointments. I promise you that. You can count on it. Now, if you don't get the appointments, what does that mean? Something's wrong with his credibility. It has nothing to do with you. So don't worry about, well, what if I don't get any appointments? You got to call him back and say, hey, good news. What's the good news? We found out we didn't have to waste our time with some of those folks. That's the good news. We could have wasted our time with them. But here's the point. If you call 5 people, right, and you say the script I just gave you, and then they say, I'm not interested, what do you say? Well, John said you're awfully busy, but could you recommend someone that's just as ambitious as you are? You're going to walk away with another 5 names, I promise you. Or do you know anybody I can call who can recommend some people? So it's impossible not to have some good news for that guy. You know, John wasn't interested, but he gave me a name, and Fred is. You see that? But boy, you have to have the drive to make this thing happen. You have to have the drive to go to RVP. You have to have the drive to make money, to make this all work. You have to treat this thing seriously. But folks, this works for everyone who cares to try. Everyone out there who wants to work the business. Now, I've got a short period of time, and I know folks on the that are listening to this tape are going to have some questions like you are. Does anybody have any questions here? About what to say, what if they don't do this, or how do you meet them, or anything else? Is it pretty cut and dried?
The phone numbers when you're looking for how to call.
Phone numbers, just call up and information, say, give me the name of AAA company. Again, you're asking for the company. You're asking for the company. Understand that? Now, if a guy says, well, he works for a company, but he's a factory worker on the floor. Well, great. What part of Dallas does he live in? What street? Do you remember? Well, he lives on XYZ Street now. I can go get the telephone number. Just don't get the name. So you've got to get the phone number, but that's why I like the company, because I don't have to worry about the phone number. You understand that? All right? Any other questions?
So when you get the 3 names, you got the 3 names to show him how they work. What do you do with the 3 names while you're looking at him eyeball to eyeball, showing what it is you're supposed to show him?
Well, what I'm showing him is this. Now, let's assume I call the Fred, Ed, and John, right? Now, let's assume 2 of those people say, yeah, let's sit down and have a cup of coffee. I know that both will become customers. Because do you think they're any smarter than you financially? Could they put their head on that pillow tonight and say, I don't have to ever worry about money again when I retire? No. So we know that at least 2 of those people will become customers. Now, what does that mean to you? Well, in our company, that means about anywhere between $150 to $250 to you. That's what that means. In other words, just by going out there, I'll make you $150 to $250. I'll make you that amount of money. And after you make $150 to $250, what? Then you can really decide whether or not you're interested in this thing, right? Right? If I made you $250, and after you got the money in your pocket, then you start saying, I wonder if I like this. Correct? Now, what happens is you make it on $150 to $250. Now, the next thing is we're going to call these 5 people, and let's assume only 2 are interested. And let's assume that both these people come in, and within the next 6 or 8 weeks, they build an organization of anywhere between 5 to 10 people. Well, that's 2 people, right? And let's assume they both have around, say, 5 people. That's 10 people in their group. And from that, you get 5 customers come out next month. In the month of December, 5 customers come out of that. Your average income per customer will be about $60. You make about $300 in the month of December just from those 2 or 3 people. See me showing potentials. How much money you make if they buy. How much money you make if they join. So basically what I'm saying to you, Clarence, is there's a pretty good chance you'll make between $400 to $500 in the next 4 to 6 weeks just from me calling up these 5 people. Right? Is that potential there? Right? More money he makes if he put $100 a month in a mutual fund for the next month. Right? Now, folks, let me tell you something. You understand, you can make anybody successful you choose to make successful. Did you understand what I just said? If I say to you, I'm going to, and by the way, I can do this with anybody in this room. If you'll work with me and cooperate. Haven't I asked you for names? And did I call him up? The point is, we'll get appointments. We have to beg our own people to give us names so we can call, right? But folks, you give me, you work with me and say, Bill, I'm going to fly with you. I'm going to run with you. I can make you as successful as I want to be. So we go around all day saying, do I want to make you successful or do I want to make him successful? Do I want to make her successful? Who do I want to make successful? Because I can make it. Because folks, let me tell you something. A part-timer can't make it being a part-timer. A part-timer has to have a strong full-timer working his names in his market for him. And you got a guy, I asked a guy a question the other day. He said, how would you like to have could you go out in the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes and call up a friend and get your friend to go full-time? Wouldn't it be nice to have a full-time guy working this and you're making the overrides on it? Wouldn't it be nice? Just think of somebody you can hire right now full-time. Just think, who can that be? The guy says, golly, I can't think of anybody. I said, how about me? Would you like to hire me full-time to help you build your business with you? Would you like to do that? Well, I'm not sure I'm interested. I mean, he can't add 2 plus 2 if he doesn't see that. You understand that? But folks, you've got to have to want to succeed. So, well, Bill, where'd you learn this? I created it out of necessity to win. And you got to start getting creative, and you got to start getting bold and audacious and push and shove. Folks, you don't mind pushing and shoving if there's something that you know will come out the other end of good for that person. We know that for our fact. The thing is, people test you. And your lack of boldness tells them this thing doesn't work. Your lack of strength in promising and committing tells this person, well, I'm not sure this thing works. You got to be bold. I'll make you money. I'll get recruits for you. I'll get sales for you. All you got to do is just trust me and let's work this thing together. And I'll prove it to you. Before I ever ask you to sign up and join, I will prove it to you. Can you do that? Man, you go out there and call 5 of his friends. You can't get a name, nothing. Do you want that guy? What's he going to bring to you? Nothing. But now if I get 1 recruit for him, guess what happened? He'll buy and his recruit will buy. And that's how you get his policies, his sale, his financial independence plan. How? You go out and get a sale for him. Right? So folks, you have to understand, we've got to go out there and make something out of an interview. We've got to force the guy to buy, force the guy to join. Now, if this does create some weakness. What's the weakness? People let you do their work for them. You call my names. But folks, if you're down at ground zero right now, you're not worried about building strong people. You're worried about getting some people. 98% of people in this company have no people. Well, I've got weak people, right? And I created weak people because I'm strong and I'll work hard. But let me tell you something. They would have been weak anyway. I just built a market underneath them, and they got some money. They had at least the chance to make it. I love calling people and saying, listen, got a recruit for you. By the way, this guy's buying. He gave me 5 names. I called 4, and all 4 have an interview. And I've already called 3 of those. Man, this thing is working. I love doing that. I hate calling people and say, can you make it Saturday? You can't. 2 soccer. How about Tuesday night? You've got a commitment Tuesday night. Can you come to the office? No, you can't make it. Well, okay. I'll connect you next Wednesday. That's not the way. I don't enjoy that. I enjoy having strength, and I enjoy having power, and that's what we've got in our business. Pat, you have a question? Right. Can I get him? The person that's giving me the 5 names, can I get him to sign up? Well, it doesn't make any difference. You see, this guy's going to sign up because he's got a gun to his head. The gun to his head is, I've got 2 people about ready to join. Are you going to join so you can override them? You see? So, I mean, you'll have those folks being forced to join, forced to buy. That's what you want. And he'll join up faster this way than he will by, well, I saw it today, let me check it out, and I'll come to the meeting on Tuesday, and then maybe I'll come to the meeting on Saturday. We tend to try to get meetings to get people to join. We tend to get, if you just come to my meeting, and it's right, he will. But the point is, what about those that won't? And they go home this afternoon, and their dog just got killed, and their son's sick, and the last thing on his mind is PFS and his opportunity. Well, you got to call him back on Monday with good news, or call him back by 3 o'clock this afternoon. The fun part is, folks, it's the way that, again, when you get a little, and this is going to happen after about 3 to 4 weeks of doing this, you're going to start getting a little arrogant. I'm sure you can make anybody successful you want, and you end up getting on a phone, and after every yes from his list, you call him up. Every yes. By the way, just want to let you know, Ed's going to come meet with me tomorrow. Oh, just want to let you know, Fred's going to meet with me on Friday. Oh, just want to let you know, John's meet with me on Thursday. I want to let you know this thing's working. We got 3 for 3, and we got 2 more names to call. Just thought I'd let you know. Listen, I got to go. I know you're busy. Bye. And guess what? Every time that phone rings, he's hoping what? It's you. He's hoping it's you. And if he says, stop bothering me, what do you say? Fine. I've got the names. I've got the people. I've got it working. The key to it, though, is you've got to get married people 25 to 37, 40, right? Don't just say, well, I know this divorced guy. Forget it. Well, I know this divorced woman. Forget it. Why? Folks, if you're going to work at all, you've got to work in there. I'd rather get 2 names of marrieds than 10 names of divorcees. For obvious reasons, correct? Because even if you sat down with 10 to 5 divorcees, they won't buy from you. But if you sit down with those 2 marrieds, you see that? He said, well, all I know is single people. All I know is divorced people. What do you say? Hey, we got this meeting on Tuesday, and I want you to come to it. All right? Why don't you just come to this meeting on Tuesday, and I'd see if it's for you. Folks, I'm not calling up some guy. You know, sometimes you might be hurting enough, you got nothing to do, call it up. Right? Call him up. If he's single, 25 years old, give him a call. But guess what? Have him come down to the office, or don't waste a lot of time on him. And then hopefully that person will give you some married names. If you've got nothing else to do. But I'm telling you, eventually the successful people are ones that work in the hot, proven markets. But folks, you got to have excitement. You got to have joy and thrill. And man, I'm 1 interview away from an explosion. Folks, how do you have 10, wouldn't you like to have 10, 12, 15 interviews a week? This is how you have it. See, versus we get an interview, then we say, now I got to find some more names to have another interview. Well, even if you did get another interview, you have no way of locking anybody in. You see that? So, folks, you don't have to search. You say, listen, I get an interview today at 10. I'll have 3 appointments tomorrow. And then when you have 3 appointments tomorrow, how many names you get? 15 names. And you should book at least 50% appointments statistically. It's going to be a lot more like 70, but I'm just going to say on the conservative side, 50%. So you meet with, of those 15 people, you book how many appointments? 7, and how many names you get? 21 to 35, you book another 7 or 8 names. Man, you're going all the time. And, by the way, you don't have to ever worry about that first guy ever again. Because why? All he has to have is 1 recruiter underneath him, and you got it locked in forever. He's locked in, tied down. Why? Because the more you build for him, if you build 5 deep for him, he's not going anywhere. That's how you load up your opportunity meetings. Why? You can have people come in, and he's forced to come, and he sees his 2 friends here. Now, why are those 2 friends coming? Because you got 1 each coming for them. You see that? You say, listen, John, if you don't have time to do anything for him, you got to come Tuesday night. Why? Because I'd probably get one of these names to come Tuesday night with you. But I want to let him know that. I mean, you can force the issue with him, force him to come to meetings, and force him to start building something. Any last questions? Isn't this exciting? Yeah.
That was the question. You said you get them to come to the meetings. How do you do that? By
Force it. Force it. You know, again, when it gets tough, right? And you flat, you got 5 or 6, 8 people planning to come because you got somebody underneath them coming. You can say, well, listen, we got a meeting tomorrow night, and I'm not sure I'll be able to. We're going to get to his names by 3, right? And well, by 3 o'clock this afternoon, I should get maybe at least one of these people to come with tomorrow night. So you had a plan to come because I'll have one person come with you. So I mean, even if you don't have it happen, you can plan on it. You see, I'll have someone coming. Why? Because they'll be interested. So the point is, you got to force the issue, lock them in, put something, make something happen underneath them. And I said, well, Bill, what if I have a sales interview? Same thing. So the guy says, well, listen, I am not interested in doing anything part-time or being changed. I'm very, very happy. All I want to do is be a customer. That's not true. What is he saying is this: if you can do something for me and get me a little business going, I'll join. That's what he's saying. So you say, well, John, I can understand this, but listen, when I say the word ambitious, who do you know? Just help me out. I just want to show something. I just want to show something to you. I know you're not interested in doing anything. I know you love your job, and I know you just became a customer of ours with the plan. But let me just show something to you. When I say that, make things happen for that interview. I'm going to make things happen with his list. I'm going to make things happen. But folks, once this thing starts getting on, your meetings and your opportunities will explode. Anybody have one last question before I got to leave? Do you think it'll work? I know it'll work. Will you make some money on it? Tons of money. But here's the most important part. The biggest fear that people have is they truly don't have enough to do. That's what gets them out. Boredom. And they don't think they can ever make it happen for themselves and their family because they don't have enough names. This is a way where you have control on your life. And no matter what happens, you can make this thing go. Now, if you're a part-timer, right, and you just cannot call during the day, just can't do it, what do you do? If you're a part-timer and you go out tonight and you sit down with a guy and you get 3 to 5 names, right? Let me show you how this thing works. By 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, I will have called these 3 to 5 people. What do you do if you're part-time? You call your full-timer and say, listen, I got 3 to 5 names last night. Here's 3 to 5 names for you to call. So we got to get our part-timers out there picking up the names. So daytime activity, right? For who? Us. When you come in,